Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to have back on the program, very learned one. He is head of the Department of Government at Tarleton State University. It is Dr. Nathaniel Cogley in Stevensville, Texas. How are you, Dr. Cogley?
I'm good, Stevie. How you doing?
Well, as I just said, I got to play the first 10 seconds of this fantastic clip last night.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
Ooh, there it was. Okay, fireworks in Vegas, fireworks on the Strip. What'd you see last night, Nathaniel?
Oh, Warren was landing some blows there.
Yeah.
So Bloomberg was under attack for two reasons. It was always going to be a difficult situation for him. Number one, he's not really a Democrat. He's an independent. And our two-party system means that he has to run in the Democratic primary to have a shot at this thing. And he's trying to compete in a Democratic Party that's moved very left. And number two, he has some great momentum from his record-setting ad buys across the country. And people were attacking him, trying to stifle his momentum. I see a lot of the press coverage is saying, he was a horrible debate performance. He didn't do well at all. And I agree it'd be better if some of these issues didn't exist, right? So if there weren't these non-disclosure agreements, or he didn't have this certain word choice and rhetoric around stop and frisk that he now needs to walk back. But given that those exist, I don't know what people were expecting. He stood up there. He sold his resume. He countered the electability claims of Sanders. He talked about his ability to start a business. He appealed to who his voters are going to be, which are the ones that, maybe aren't the ones in the theater who are more Democratic activists.
I loved it when Bernie said, it's not socialism, it's democratic socialism. It's different. Gosh, I bet that's never been said before.
Well, Bernie's done a lot to kind of make socialism an acceptable word choice in the country and in the Democratic Party, but that's probably not a good messaging to go up against President Trump, who's all about nationalism. So I'll take nationalism over socialism any day.
Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think Bernie will get through? Because I still can't believe that they're going to allow it, meaning they're going to steal it for the second time. And I don't think this time the Bernie bros will stay home. I think they'll go out and vote for Trump. I think it'll be absolutely a fissure in the party if they take this away from Bernie Sanders at this point.
Yeah, I don't see him. I see this going to a brokered convention, and I see if Sanders has the momentum, a lot of party insiders will want to make it a brokered convention and yield someone else. They just have the challenge of, if they give it to someone else at a brokered convention, how can you keep Bernie's support and his supporters on board, the nominee, whoever that is? That's going to be tough. That's where probably the best unifier on the stage is Amy Klobuchar, someone who's not going to be in the lead in delegates, but she is kind of well positioned to maybe unify that party at a brokered convention. But I agree. I think, if Sanders is the nominee, Trump's got another 4 years rather easily.
Okay. Anything you see on the horizon? Brokered convention would be pretty historic, and you can't get in a smoke-filled room with Michael Bloomberg, lights dim, across the table from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying, I really want to support you guys for about $50 million. How's that sound?
Well, it probably is not the brokered conventions of old. Brokered means deal making. So once we get through these primaries, and there's only 4 caucuses in the Democratic Party now, but once we get through those, there's going to be some delay between those votes taking place and the actual convention. This deal making process will start well beforehand. And a question of, are you able to put together a ticket? Do 2 candidates combined, are they able to muster up a majority of delegates and have those delegates buy in to where you can have a presidential and vice presidential nominee? It probably would mean there's got to be some deal amongst those with leverage over delegates going into the convention.
But you don't think you have to appease the squad? In other words, I'll support Antifa, I'll support all your stuff if you just kind of go with me on this?
Well, we saw 4 years ago, we saw Sanders yield at the end, support Hillary Clinton at the convention, and so can he yield again? I think if he feels like there is an acceptable candidate candidate in there, he's going to have a tough time supporting Bloomberg. This is one of Bloomberg's biggest challenges. Can he not only make the case he's the best matchup against Trump, but be positioned to unify that party? He's not a real Democrat. It's going to be tough for him to unify the party. It's going to be tough for Sanders, who's also not a real Democrat, to unify that party. And when there is a civil war going on in the Democratic Party, and to have a broker convention, you're going to need a unifier to be able to do that. So, yeah, it'd be historic, and it's kind of wildly interesting and a bit unpredictable.
Yeah, I'd really be surprised, because the way the resentment is for billionaires, it'd be really surprising to me if Bloomberg figures it out. I do think he'll spend $1 billion. That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, what's an extra billion? Well, it's a big deal. I mean, if you look at Trump's net wealth, it's reported as $3 billion to about $8 billion, depending on the source. You look at Bloomberg's net wealth, it's 50 to 64, depending on the source. So he's got some billions to blow off, and he's doing that. Boy, he's breaking records with these ad buys, and that's going to yield him a lot come Super Tuesday. He just needs 15% in states. He's going to start racking up delegates.
You're going to be fascinating, Dr. Nathaniel Cogley. Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Stevie.
It's Matt, head of the Department of Government at Tarleton State University, Stevensville, Texas. ESPN 93.5.